precious natural resource. Today we will be discussing about water management. We know that water is essential for all living beings, and it is a gift of nature which we must honor. And due to this reason, in 1992, the UN declared 22nd March as the World Water Day, just to create an awareness about the water conservation, so that we all are aware and we conserve water rather than wasting it. We try to save as much as water that is possible. Now, every individual, it was calculated, needs approximately 50 liters of water every day for cooking, drinking, bathing, and all the other purposes. But the world is heading towards a water crisis, because we don't have this much of water available for a very large part of population. In next 15 to 20 years, we are expecting that the two-thirds of world's population will not have this much of water, even 50 liter water available for them for every day, and it will suffer from water scarcity. Water scarcity or water crisis is defined as a situation where there is a fall in the availability of usable water. That is, there is insufficient water to satisfy the normal requirements. You can compare it like a bank account. So the amount you spend should be less than what you can save. It is something similar to what we will be doing with water now. We should do it with water. We should spend less and save more water. So there are effective strategies which are being planned to conserve and to save water. Not just saving water, not just to make that supply continuous, but also we'll have to change our ways so that the demand of water is reduced. And there are many steps that we introduced even when you were little kids. It was introduced to you that while you brush your teeth, you must close the tap. If there are leaking taps these are the things that we can do. If there are leaking taps in your house, that must be rectified, so that lots of water can be saved from wastage. Other than that, you would have now seen that in malls, in cinema halls, and in railway stations, you have waters which have sensors, taps which have sensors, which open only for a very short duration, and as soon as you remove your hand, these taps do not dispense any water. So all these things and all these measures are basically to conserve water, because every drop counts. Okay, so there are certain bigger strategies which we can do to conserve rainwater. One of them, the first one and the most important one, is rainwater harvesting. As I said, every drop of water counts, so we should collect it when and as soon as it falls. And rainwater is an important source of water, so we must collect all the rainwater. Otherwise, this rainwater is just washed away into the drain, though it's one of the purest forms of water, and we can conserve it and can use it. So if I have to define rainwater harvesting, it is the process of collecting rainwater from rooftops, from street corners, and storing it for later uses. This is the definition for rainwater harvesting. In very simple terms, if you can see this diagram, as soon as this rainwater is falling on the roof, normally what happens? This will just go down and go into the drain. But this water from the roof can be collected into a tank, which can be a covered tank, and it can just finish till here. This tank water can be then later used whenever you require it for your daily purposes. Or you can have a small percolation tank below it, and through this percolation tank, little water seeps down it and can recharge the groundwater. So it can be till here, or it can continue with a percolation tank, and this water can actually go down into the groundwater and recharge the groundwater. This percolation tank is consisting of nothing but gravel and some sand, so that all the impurities are restricted and little water is allowed to seep into the ground to recharge the groundwater. Now, what are the benefits of rainwater? harvesting. First, it is a very important method to raise the water table. So if this water recharges the groundwater, the water table automatically rises. Then it reduces the runoff of rainwater. So the rainwater, whatever is running waste, it is just going to the drains. It is reducing that runoff rainwater, and it is saving this rainwater. Then availability of rainwater even in the dry season. See, if the season is dry, you still have some water available for you to be used for later purposes. And thus it reduces the dependence on and the strain on other methods of water supply. So if you have rainwater, if you have this water stored with you, you will be consuming less tap water. So in a way it benefits you. And see, this was one method that was being used earlier also, and now a government is very specific. So all new constructions, all new buildings will have this kind of rainwater harvesting systems in them. That is how they get the construction clearance, so that maximum water can be now conserved. Apart from rainwater harvesting, one can start with prevention of water wastage. That's an easy step. We all can do it at our own places. Lots of water is lost due to the wastage of water. It happens during the transportation of water. You will see lots of pipes, the drain pipes, they are broken or they are leaking. Similarly, leaking taps, we don't realize by drop, we are actually wasting gallons and gallons of water, which is drinkable and potable, and it should be actually saved. So the first thing, leakage and dripping of these pipes should be immediately stopped, and it should be corrected. Then one should, we can all take small steps, like instead of taking a shower bath, one can go for a bucket bath. Then instead of washing the floors and the cars, one can start with a simple mopping. You are saving lots of water in that. Similarly, if you are washing vegetables, save that water for gardening. You should not throw excess water, what you have in your water bottles. Closing the tap while brushing and washing your face, or using taps which have sensors. There are top taps which do not throw a huge amount of water at the same time. They trickle, little water comes out. So all these are the methods with which we can prevent the wastage of water. Then reusing the water that we've used for bathing and for washing, that can be reused. If it is treated, it can be used for gardening, it can be reused for washing and cleaning, and it can also be reused in construction. Again, in that case, we are saving lots and lots of water, which is drinkable and potable, which would have been used for these four things. Then revival of boweries and step wells. In olden times also, the rainwater was conserved by construction of boweries, where a huge tank was dug with lots of steps on it. These are called boweries. These are very prevalent in Rajasthan. In fact, during the year of 1992, when there was a drought, 1985, there was a huge drought. Jodhpur was not receiving any water. Then the government wanted to shift the people to another place where the water was available, but it was these boweries which were revived and which supplied water to the people of Jodhpur. Similarly, you have these boweries basically collects the rainwater, and with the collection of rainwater, since they do not have cement at the end, little water percolates down and it increases the groundwater level of that place. Apart from that, now these you would have heard of Fateh Sagar Lake. It's a huge tourist destination. It's a tourist spot. If you go to Udaipur, you will find Fateh Sagar Lake. This is a 4.4 kilometer long lake, and this lake is basically storing all water that is during the rainwater that happens, and it is supplying water to the city of Udaipur and to the adjoining area. Similarly, the Mansagar Lake in Jaipur, which is famous for the Lake Palace, is again a artificial tank which has been constructed to conserve the rainwater. So rainwater conservation is not a new thing, it's an old thing. A very famous Bauri is the Chand Bauri, which is the photograph of that is given in your book also. And this Bauri is what is found in Ajmer. So all these things were practiced in during the olden times also, and this rainwater was then conserved and saved and used. We did not realize that it was charging the groundwater also, the underground water also. Now the government is reviving these boundaries and step wells again. One, to conserve the rainwater, and second, to recharge the groundwater. Next is drip irrigation. See, the water is being absorbed by the roots. You use huge amount of water in irrigating the crops. Now this water is being used by the roots only, the roots absorb the water. So what if we supply a small amount of water only to the roots and do not spill water unnecessarily? So we are avoiding the wastage of water. So the scientists have come up with a technology in which they lay down a pipe, a network of pipe in the field, and these pipes are perforated. That means they have small holes through which a drop water trickles down and it reaches directly to the root. So that way you are saving and conserving water. Next is construction of dams. Dams are basically artificial walls which are made on the over the rivers. So they stop the flow of the river and a huge reservoir of water is created. From this water reservoir, you make a system of canals, and this water is distributed to the various other places which do not have the supply of water. And little water is allowed to move ahead. Now, what is the benefit? You will say you will stop the river, so what is the point? The benefit is when the river is flowing, it is taking the water at a very high speed, and ultimately this water goes to the sea. This way you are stopping the river flow and you are creating a reservoir where this reservoir again recharges the groundwater and can be used. And you allow the river to flow in a little lesser way, but it definitely flows ahead. Now these dams are again places where you can recharge the water. It's not necessary that you make a huge big dam. You make a small dam only, and small check dams over the seasonal rivers can also be made. Like there is a story of Bhojpur which had a seasonal river, Rukmavati, and on this river little 18 check dams, small dams were made. So these dams created small reservoirs and which recharge the groundwater. So during the dry season, the people use this groundwater. When you have the rainy season, you always have a seasonal river in which this water can be collected. So this is another way. And then now the latest way is recharging of rivers. You would have heard of Kaveri calling. How do you do it? See, a river is flowing along that. If you construct land, if you construct cities and all, the groundwater will not be recharged. So along the banks of the river, if you do not construct anything, you grow forests over there. A forest which can be, grows which can be used later, which give you important products. Like you can grow timber forest, you can grow popular trees, you can grow many such trees which give you products which can be used. The river will also flow, the groundwater will also be recharged, and ultimately the river will also be recharged. There will be more amount of rainfall and the river also gets recharged. So all these methods are being used to conserve water, and which is the need of the hour, because people say in another 10-15 years, scientists only say that we will be having acute shortage and scarcity of water. If you have heard of the case of Cape Town, which is in South Africa, in 2016, it was announced as a dry place. That means it did not have any water. The people were given only 22 liters of water per person for a week. 50 liters of water an individual requires for every day, but 22 liters per week. Now this is the stage that we are all coming on to. If we do not conserve water, we will be coming to a stage then where we will have acute acute shortage of water or scarcity of water. So let us now understand what are the effects of scarcity of water. So now we come to the last part of this chapter, that is effect of water scarcity. The first and the foremost effect that we will see is that there will be very less water. If there is very less water, we will not be able to grow crops, because crops need to be irrigated. They need to be supplied with water, and if there are no crops, the amount of population that we have, there will be a shortage of food. Okay, many people will die because food is not available to them. And why this food is not available to them? Because we're not able to grow these crops, as the crops need water to grow. Second will be shortage of oxygen. Though we know there is 21% of oxygen that is there in the atmosphere, but this oxygen is being constantly produced by the plants. So if the trees will not be able to survive without water, the forest will not be able to survive without water, plants will not be able to survive without water, they will not be able to photosynthesize, because for photosynthesis you need water. Is an essential thing. Okay, it is requirement for photosynthesis. No photosynthesis means no oxygen. So we will be facing shortage of oxygen also. The last one will be that rainfall pattern will be greatly reduced. Why? Trees won't be there, and trees release lots of water vapor into the atmosphere by through the process of transpiration. So no, there are no trees. That means there is no water vapor which is being released. That means the amount of water vapor that's present in the atmosphere is very less. Hence, the water cycle will be disturbed and we will have less and less rainfall happening. So these are this is the scary picture of the scarcity of water. So what do? We should actually try and conserve water at every possible step. There are lots of people and lots of NGOs which are caring for the environment, and we've heard of lots of success stories of check dams being made in certain districts, and then that district becoming green again. Lots of rivers being revived, like the rivers that are flowing, that used to flow in Rajasthan, though they were seasonal rivers. Dravyavati, Amravati, and all these rivers have been revived because of the efforts of people by placing, by planting green trees around it and keeping the groundwater level, which keeps the groundwater level higher. So there are lots and lots of success stories. We all have to make little efforts to conserve water, otherwise the picture is really grim for us. I hope this lesson will inspire you to conserve water. Thank you.